Oh.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. That is the new time for the Dennis and Andy show. Mark it down. You don't ever want to miss a show. I feel naked. I didn't have my hat on. Now I do.
He was a bit chilly, he said. So
I
naturally, he needed something to cover
Well,
the turtle wax.
Look, you were whining about the glare. Every goddamn time you come over, it's always glare this, glare that.
Yes, the sun comes in, literally hits it. Guys, you think I'm tan? That is just a reflection from the sun off of Andy's head.
I'm getting so tired of your BS about the glare on my head. You don't have a problem when we have to share a hotel room and you like rubbing it at night and making a wish. No,
yes,
that's not
I keep hoping you're going to grow hair. You know,
that's
the Grecian formula doesn't work. I wished for you because friends do that. And my wish goes unanswered. Wow.
You're a giving person.
I am.
Except on my birthday and Christmas. Then he's a stingy son of a bitch.
Nope. I'll take it right back. Everything I've ever given you. And it's usually cowboy stuff.
That won't be hard.
I mean, for most people, that wouldn't be a gift. That's a curse. But hey, just saying.
Whatever. So we are here. We have a great guest today. The one and only Jeff Johnson will be joining us soon. But first and foremost, the chat. Hello, guys. Oh, look at that. Rich, our buddy that lives right up the road, was first. And you get no prize for that, Rich. Sorry, buddy.
Wow. And he said YouTube first. He didn't say Rumble first. So just YouTube.
That's right. A good Wednesday afternoon to you, Mr. Randy. Hello. Thank you for joining us as well. As more people pop in. JP Roca, what is up? Oh, look at that. JP's popping a link. Nice. Thank you. Don't forget to share the link for Lilith Infernal Conflict, the sign-up page. Come on, guys. Get on it.
Yeah, we're switching to 3:30 instead of 3 o'clock. We just needed that extra half hour for some stuff. So, guys, just make it 3:30. Put it down in your calendar. Mark it every Wednesday. And then when we're done, you guys can roll right over into Graybeards and watch some awesome draw streams.
The reason we need that extra half hour, you know, in the Oscars, they have awards for like everything and have an award for like a makeup artist. They are truly artists because you can't see it on camera. You have to be this close to them. This guy has so much makeup on. It takes a half hour for him to do his face to look natural. And when this isn't on, it's like from V.
But he takes 2 hours and it looks like he does nothing. So what can I say? I'll take that win as well.
Well, you know, making this the way it looks does take a couple hours of shaving.
So. Yep. And this is dry, comb, done. Wow. Simple.
I mean, it's kind of like glue because little known secret, that's a wig. So it's a little bit of that spirit gum glue that he sticks on.
Wig.
So, wow. He has a very ugly shaped head.
For those of you guys that do visit us at the shows, and we do have a show upcoming this Sunday, the Charlotte Comic-Con held in, not Charlotte, Trick. It's in Concord. You can stop in and see us on Sunday. It's another great show. So for those of you that do show up live, I'll let you pull on the hair to see if it's a wig. Oh yeah. I'll let you.
He uses really good glue, of course. And he likes to brag that he's a tough guy. So you'll pull on it and he'll just be going,
Well, I did. I loaned Andy some of my glue. He has been taking his pubes and gluing them to his chin. So that way he has a goatee. He has hair, guys.
Actually, Dennis, it's the other way around.
No alopecia.
I take the shavings from here and go down there.
Wow. So, all right. Well, either way.
Wow, you're ruining the show for our guests. But let's bring him on. A guy I've known. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Jeff and I go way back. In fact, Jeff, I was trying to find the photo, and because I leave everything to the last minute, I have a photo of you, me, and Brad Venkata in Terry Stewart's office at Marvel from 92 or 93, something like that.
I remember that photo. I'm like wearing like a cool bomber jacket back in the day, right?
All three of us had bomber jackets.
Wow, that was the style at the time.
That was
like
dude.
Top Gun bomber jackets.
Oh yeah,
brown leather
jackets. Yeah,
brown leather. Yeah.
But the question is, did you have hair?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That you need to find then.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah. We were all thin.
we were. Yeah, we were a little
we had to
thinner.
open our eyes.
Well, I showed a picture last night on the professional show. We were talking about the 80s and stuff, and I showed a picture of myself sitting on the hood of my car from high school senior year, and I said the only difference is I was 145 there and I'm 185 now. So
185, not bad.
Yeah. So,
Well done.
Yeah.
So
how you been
yet?
What's that?
Are you shrinking yet?
No, not only where I don't want to,
Sure,
but
yeah. It is age appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty
well,
good.
it's my
man.
ears.
Well,
my
yeah.
ears are getting smaller and it makes my
so
head
those
look
blue
different.
pills are for your ears. Okay,
Yeah.
just checking. Wow.
Yeah. They have multiple purposes.
They do.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I've never heard of this stuff because unless you grew up in Jersey, I guess, or maybe California, I don't know. Billy Tucci, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Billy from the 80s.
Mm-mm.
He's got the big poofy Bon Jovi hair.
Wow, did he use lots of like the hairspray from back in the day?
Aquanet. No. He actually showed the can. He still has a can of it, and it's literally called Stiff Stuff.
Oh my god.
He kept it.
And I said, wait a sec, Stiff Stuff. Is that for your hair or for your junk when you tried to impregnate your wife? Because just saying.
It's got to
But
be
no,
explosive, right? Like that kind of shit. It's got to be a flamethrower in a can.
Oh man, you
That
remember
was
those
great
days?
stuff.
We all did that, right?
I
Come on
do.
now. Hey, Joe Bernardo says, I have your draw fight scenes like a pro book.
Oh, cool. I worked on that way back when we were cross-gen.
I know. And by the way, I don't know if you've thought about doing this or maybe you have. Do you have the rights back to it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a volume 2 planned. I'm going to expand. I'm going to change some stuff in the first one. And eventually I want to get into doing like more fight scenes, multiple attackers, how to do, and even kind of kick into some of the storyboard stuff that I learned.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering because I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. What's up, Late Kick? 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote them about getting the rights back to, my first one, Drawing Dynamic Comics. And they were like, okay. So, because I wouldn't, actually it was 5 years ago. How time flies. Because back then I was like, maybe in 2025, I'll do a 25th anniversary edition expanded. No,
yeah, man, I think that there's always a market for good drawing books. And there is, yours was awesome. And I think mine, like the fight scene one, I think it was almost too specific at the time. But now there's enough of them out there. I think that the niche market has could probably support my book again.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing. I was looking through Amazon last night, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he's French, and he puts out these they're really like pocket-sized books. They're only like about this big, and he's done 10 of them. There's one on like figure structure of just like basic shapes. Then there's anatomy. Then he did one on just literally fat people in folds.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
And he's got they're fantastic. So I was scrolling through Amazon last night, and just the amount of books that are out now on comics, how to draw comics and cartoons, and compared to like when we put ours out, it's insane.
Yeah, well, I think that mine is much more like a textbook because I discussed the theory and a lot of the underlying reasons that you're drawing stuff, and it was sitting right next to like draw a fairy princess, draw robots, and so I think that because mine has a lot of text in it and it gets kind of technical. So I think if you're buying your kid a how to draw book, blaze right past mine and get the draw a dinosaurs book instead.
Well, that's the problem is like. And there's still obviously books like this out there, and I just it drives me crazy because it is that literal like, here's a stick figure, here's some circles, here's the finished drawing, and I'm just like, come on, you're short you're just ripping people off, and you have no text in your book,
right? So
you have tons of this type of crap. So a parent might flip through it, but seriously, that's nothing.
Right. So on May 6th, I'm actually going to be teaching an online course for Comic Experience about cool. Drawing comics, and I'm going to talk a lot about because I'm doing a thing called the what, why, and how of drawing comics.
Yeah.
And so I talk a lot about, because everyone knows like what a bicep looks like or what a punch looks like. I mean, and they know, like, everyone knows how to draw it, but I'm mostly interested in, like, well, why did you pick that angle? Like, why are you drawing this shot? Like,
Right.
like, what is the purpose, and why is this shot the right shot for your storytelling? So I'm always way more interested in kind of the philosophical side of storytelling than the mechanics of it. So that's mostly what my class is going to be about. But you have to really care. That's not a class for someone who's just learning how to draw shapes.
That's what I was going to say. That is not a beginner class,
Yeah.
but it's good because, like you said, you've always come from the philosophical side of things with everything. I mean, the conversations we would have at CrossGen and stuff, I'm just sitting there. Sometimes I'm sitting there going, well, he's lost me. I'll just shake my head up and down and go, yeah, Jeff, I get it. That's cool. But no, you've always been that. But that's why it's good. It's fun having conversations with you because you kind of go deeper with the stuff. And I find that more interesting as well. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I love I remember when I first started. I don't know if you remember. I did that first issue of Ruse way back in the day, and then Bart took me into his office and we went over it panel by panel, and he explained what I was doing well and what I could be doing better, and how to, like, save myself time and make the storytelling more interesting and dynamic. And, like, within 45 minutes, I thought it must have been a year's worth of classes and experience from just that one review. And so I've always really taken that and then tried to break, because he's like, well, why did you draw it this way? Like, why did you pick this angle when you made, a lot of times I was making too much work for myself and then slowing down the storytelling. And I think that conversation really helped me when I got into animation, because animation is much more about speedy communication of what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I hear you. Well, let's get into we always like to start the show. What is on the roof of my house? What the hell?
Wow, that's a bird of death. Look at that.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Well,
hey, Joe was saying first, good drawing books like Andy and Jeff's are standouts. They help go beyond the standard body sizes. Jeff, your way how to use powers and the clothes flow in movement are so useful.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, since it's the first time on the channel, we always like to talk to our new guests and ask them a few questions. One of them is kind of your origin story, what got you into comic books, but what really got you into comic books in the first place? Do you remember the first comic book that you ever bought or were given as a kid? Do you still have?
I think the first comic book I ever bought is I think it's Korak, Son of Tarzan.
Oh, that's DC for sure.
Oh yeah, he's fighting a shark, and I don't think it's Joe Kubert. I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember just loving it. And he's fighting a shark, and I bought it at a flea market for like a dime when I couldn't have been more than like 6 or 7. I don't even know what I was doing there, but I found it and I bought it, and I loved that comic. And then when I was a kid, we moved around a lot, and so wherever we would go, when you're getting into a new town or a new school or whatever, it's always hard to make friends. But there's always a 7-Eleven, and they always have Captain America and Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Justice League. And so I knew that I would always kind of have friends waiting for me whenever I got to a town, because I knew I could go to a 7-Eleven and get the newest issue.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real cool.
Yeah, you were probably in the ballpark of the same age, because it was back then. It was the dime store that's where you went, and then we had a really great local bookstore that carried comics, and that was good. And then our first comic shop / arcade opened up, and
you had a combo?
That was the new go-to place.
Oh man, that sounds like heaven.
Classic. Yeah, I didn't have a combo in my town.
My mom would literally drop us off, and they had a special, whatever new comic book day was. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday back then, but it was 3 hours. All you could play video games, and you walk in the front door. The downstairs was all comics. It was the comic shop. Then they had circular metal stairs that went upstairs, 2, and then they had another stairs that went up. So there were 2 levels, and one of them was cave shaped, of all video games.
Oh my God, that sounds like heaven.
It was. So $5, all you can play video games for 3 hours. My mom would literally drop me off at the front door in town. I would go in there, play video games, walk out with my comic books. It was a perfect day.
That sounds like a great day. Nice.
So so you're getting into comics and stuff. What were some of the artists? Because we're all around the same age.
Yeah.
I won't out you. I know how old you are, though.
Right. Yeah. So I think, honestly, one of my first, John Buscema must have been the first guy I aped, right? Like the first guy I started stealing from. And then studying his work. And then right around the same time, I found a little reprint book of Starhawks with the Gil Kane.
Oh, yeah.
That old black and white stuff. So then I studied that stuff extensively. So John Buscema, Gil Kane, and then I discovered Perez and Byrne. And then when I was 14, I was at a creation show, Comic Book Con in, it had to be like it was the Bay Area, but I can't remember if it was Oakland or Berkeley. Anyway, they had an art contest, and the prize was the Al Williamson art book. And I remember I drew like a unicorn or something, and I won, and I got the Al Williamson art book. And after that, I was done. So then everything Al Williamson and all of his Torres and Terry and the Pirates, and then all his influence and Frank Frazetta's. I mean, I was already into Frank's paintings. Sure. I already was familiar with that stuff. But then I discovered that Frank did a bunch of comics back in the day. I'm like, oh, I had to get those, all the Johnny Rocket stuff.
I've got the collection of that stuff.
Yeah, I have sitting right over here. So so once I discovered Al Williamson, then I started pushing back in like to the old school guys, and that's when I discovered Hal Foster and Alex Raymond. And so those guys really became kind of my go-tos also.
That Al Williamson book, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's kind of a yellowish cover, I believe, and it's a soft cover. It's not super thick.
No,
I got that. I think when I was at the Kubert School, they had it. I mean, it's such a great book, but you can see in your work, not direct, like, oh my God, this guy likes Al Williamson, or oh my God, this guy likes this. But if you know what you're looking at with their work, and then you look at yours, the way figures are posed and the weight distribution and stuff, you can get that sense.
Yeah, I definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my compositions and my general sense of like, and this is one of the things Bart said is like, I almost show too much because I definitely studied Al Williamson and Hal Foster, and like it's the whole, you see the whole scene. Right. Bart's like, you don't need to see everything, right? You don't need to see we don't need to see what's happening with those people in the background. They're not important to the story. But for me, the world is the thing that's most important.
Right. And I can see that because I came from, I didn't discover guys like Williamson and, well, make it easier. Frazetta, until I went to the Kubert School, I think Frazetta was the only one of that group I knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't I don't think it was his comic book stuff. I think it was just his paintings because I had those art books they put out, those thin.
I got those when I was a kid. Those things were amazing.
Yeah.
Rohawk's in the house.
Oh, Dave,
good to see you, man.
It's been a minute.
Been a long time.
Dave's one of those guys. When I see him post a new drawing, I'm like, I hate you, Dave.
Yeah, he's always been top notch.
I know
he is.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, man. Like, well, a tangent like I like to do because my ADHD. You both worked on a character that I would love to have drawn in the 90s. Rob Liefeld had you do a Supreme miniseries. And Dave did one, and I was like, sons of bitches. Love that character. Now, I do own 2 of your pages, though. So I got
from
that.
Supreme?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that was really fun. Dan did such a great job on it. That book was just a lot of fun to draw.
Yeah. I got to do a Supreme pinup, so I guess I got to do something. But
we got to hit a couple of super chats here. Dennis Rodriguez. 2.49 euros. Yes, that's right. I say Dennis because that's the American pronunciation. I don't know if you're French because then it would be Denis. But anyway, thank you for the 249.
If it's you, it's Denise.
Not Denise at all. Turner. That is not correct. Mm-hmm. Hale got both core draft. Great customer service. We're glad that the post office was able to ship it across the pond. We have had a couple of issues with the post office. Remember that Jim Carrey movie where he worked for UPS and kicked
Ace
the packages?
Ventura.
Yep. We have seen some of the boxes. They have literally done that with our minifigures that came in the mail, the books. It's stunning what has happened.
I'll have to show you after the show. Randy Howell, good old Randy in the chat.
Yeah.
He lives in Canada. He sent me a picture of the box. First, he goes, I got the stuff, because Randy got like everything, the collector's box, everything. He goes, you guys did such a great packing job that when the box showed up, I was so scared. And he sent me a picture of the box. Dude, they kicked the shit out of this box.
Dude, we took extra care and we tried packing everything so it was impossible. But nope, they find a way. So the good news is it's such a tiny, tiny, small, less than 1% have any issues. But boy, when you look at the boxes people have sent us, it's surprising it's not higher. But we took care.
Yeah.
And then Robert DeBruce, hail, Andy and Dennis. I missed the drink and draw shows, Jeff.
There you go.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We're hoping to do those again soon. We tried doing a all getting together in LA version of it recently, and that was the scheduling is just a pain in the ass since we all live in different places now. But yeah, hopefully we'll get back to it at some point. That was a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say LA. I know you're not close to LA.
No.
The other two, the other Dan and Dave, they're both still in LA area.
They both are still in LA, but they live in different parts of it now. And LA is so big, and like I mean, it was such a great era when we were able to just do it live and hang out. And that was the most fun. And doing the podcast the live show was really fun.
Right.
We had a lot of great guests on there, and I'd love to get back to it now. But like, scheduling is always like once you get out of a habit, it's very hard to get back into it.
I hear you. David Williams says, Jeff, I just started watching the show. Are you still working animation? Hope you're making coin hand over fist. You were always an underrated talent, in my opinion.
Oh, that's very sweet, considering how good David is. It's a very nice thing for him to say. I still do some animation every once in a while. I'll do some storyboards. But mostly animation is in a tight spot right now. There's been a lot of it's in a slump a little bit, so there's not as much work happening. Hopefully that'll pick up. But I've been working on my Kickstarter a lot lately, so mostly been focusing on that and trying to get the second issue, wrap it all up for the Kickstarter, and then working on the third issue and trying to get these going. Like you guys are doing Korath big issues, right? Like
40. Well, the first one was 80, which it was, the first book was 80. We didn't think it was going to be 80, but with everything we needed to tell to set up the world and stuff, that's just the way it was. The second one was 64, 56 pages of story. And then Lilith is going to be 48 because she's already been established in the first two core drafts. Right. So it doesn't need,
Yeah, it's going to be world building because she's from the Abyss and it's a different world. So she's getting her own self-contained little tale that ties into the first two issues of Core Draft.
Yeah, world building is a lot of fun, and it takes time. Like our first issue, we had a deluxe version and a standard issue, but the story is really only 20 pages of comic book story. But then James has written a really cool. He does this really cool short stories. That I do little illustrations for. And then our letters page is it's basically the newspaper from the city and like what's going on in the city at the time. So he writes articles in the newspaper that are like hints of what else is going on in the city. So it adds to the story. So we're trying to layer the backstory, but that stuff it's complicated.
It is. There is a lot. Randy says both Core Draft books are awesome. Thank you. One of the things like he knows he's seen, I do all the world creating in spreadsheets. So I've got everything that's tied together, lined up in there through it, where the story would go unless we change something but then it's all spreadsheet, boom, boom, boom. Well, this person, did she say or do this or what did they do? Yep, it's right here, boom, boom, boom. I'm a spreadsheet guy. That's how I kind of keep track of everything.
You're a D&D guy too, right? That sounds very much like a Dungeon Master move to have spreadsheets. I bet you have a ton of maps.
Yeah. Well, the original map actually I created for the world. I actually hand drew. I showed it one of the earlier streams when we launched. It's on a great big cardboard that I drew back in, it was either 1999 or 2000. So that was the first hint of the world. And then I created a digital version of the map, had to learn how to do cartography with map software. And I did that for this. But yeah, no, I've been playing and then DMing since about, mid 80s, 1984. So yeah, we got the 2 modules that we did so far. The third one will be tying in with the third Core Draft book when we get to it. So different stories. You can play the game and read the book all at the same time. And
I love that. I love the crossover. I'm excited about getting the modules when you guys actually playing the characters. We're doing the same thing for our characters. We're building them as characters and doing the character sheets. And also too, it's one of the things. So James does not play D&D, but I was finally able to convince him. Because he's like, so okay, yeah, go ahead, do that, whatever. I'm like,
you mean like this guy? I don't either.
So yeah,
I know nothing. I played D&D maybe once when I was a teenager, and that was it.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun, and it's such a great character building tool, especially the character sheet. So James, I was finally able to get him to write like the some skills and some history and some likes and dislikes for his character sheet. And once he understood what it was for, he's done amazing background stuff so there's a lot of background stuff that's actually going to be only available in the character sheet just because that's where it's at.
Yeah, that is the same thing. Andy did great. We did the 7x10 character cards. The front's the beautiful artwork. You flip it back and it's the entire character sheet. And there's things on there that you haven't seen in the book yet. It's pretty much just that. So you need to have the character sheet to do it. And then if you do get the modules, because not everybody plays D&D, some of the guys bought the modules just to read through it because it's not the same story. Therefore, you get introduced to other tribes and other things in the area that aren't in the story of the graphic novel.
Right. I love that. That's one of the things I like about Kickstarter is like you can have all these different pieces to the world that are interchangeable and connect. I think it's really fun.
No, it is. It really is. Oh, Randy Howe, $5. Thanks, Randy. Hey, Dennis, would you let Andy play a tabletop game with his little Andy figure? What would his player stats be?
Well, for Andy, we would roll him as 1d6. Those would be Andy stats because they're lower than everybody else.
I got to show Jeff my little figure now that he.
Oh yeah, he did bring it up. Yep. He's got it. He's got the little Andy, and had I known that, we could have brought the little Dennis. And
I find that trying to roll a friend stats is a good way to end a friendship.
Well, so here's the thing. Before I show you this, we were at a convention in South Carolina, and just so you can see it better, I'm going to make the screen like this.
All right.
We were at a convention in South Carolina 3 years ago, whatever. And you might have seen these because I'm sure they're nationwide. There's this van set up, and basically, and they had all the examples. You go into it, pick whatever pose you want, and they over 700 cameras take all these photos.
It's a 3D scan, 360 degree.
Dude, this is I think, is this 5-inch, right?
Yeah, that's the 5-inch one.
Because it wasn't cheap, but that's the 5-inch of me.
That's pretty damn good.
Right?
And I didn't paint it. It prints out that way.
Wow, that's awesome.
So Dennis has one. Billy Tucci got one when he saw this.
Right.
And my daughter has one.
Nice.
Yep. I wore my Green Bay Packer one and it was my Reebok shorts. It's so good. You can not only see the Green Bay Packers on the chest, but you can even see the little Reebok symbol right on the shorts and everything. It is very, very detailed. It's cool. They were pricey, but they were really kind of worth it for a once in a lifetime thing. My wife works from home, so she's got little Dennis sitting up on her shelf, standing in the pose, so she always knows I'm watching her to making sure that she's working.
Whereas Helen said, quote unquote, "That's creepy. Getting away from me."
I think Helen's got a pretty good understanding of what's going on.
She does.
To her.
Yeah, she does.
But speaking of figures, so one of the things we did with Core Draft is because we did the gaming, I do maps. I do them in the style, if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, It's in the original basic box set. It was the red. I designed the module just like the old B1, B2, B3 modules.
Right.
And then the second one was expert set. So it was the blue and set with the same maps and the same style and everything in that. And then we wound up, we got our first minifigs. We had 2-inch, which is the 25 to 32 millimeter size. For gaming, we had a 3-inch, and then we had a nice 5-inch one that people could get. I couldn't believe how many of those that we sold. So the figures were cool for our main character, and for the new Lilith campaign. Andy, why don't you show? We got a prototype in. Why not? We're talking about all the stuff. We've got the new prototype in. You guys will be able to get to see that.
So she does have a base, which I'll show, but this is the figure.
It's all about the base.
If you can see it.
Oh, wow. Man,
and that's great. Based on the drawing I did of her.
Did you do a full turn?
I did a front. Yeah, I did front, side, and back of her. Yeah. 3 view. Yeah, standard 3 view.
Okay.
For the guy to sculpt from. And then after he sculpts it just like straight up and down like this, I then set a sketch of the pose that we wanted.
Okay.
And then he would pose it. Because in ZBrush, from what I know, you can mirror the sides.
Right.
So you just do the straight up and down first, because then you only sculpt one side. The other side comes out, symmetrical. And then after that, like I said, I would just rough out a sketch and send it to him, and then he could just pose it in ZBrush and stuff.
Yeah, that's super cool. Damn.
So yeah, that's what we're doing.
She does have great thighs.
She does.
Right. Yeah.
She does. But I want to get back to the history of Jeff. The history of Jeff. He's into comics. He's loving comics. How did Jeff break into comics?
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants to know. Dennis told me last night, he's like, I couldn't fall asleep. I was like, how did Jeff break into comics? I got to know. And I said, well, ask him nicely, and he might tell
I know
you.
You got into X-Men. X-Men are my guys, so you did some stuff in the X-Men, and one of my best friends since junior high, he's a huge Wonder Man fan, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great story.
Well, so I got super lucky when I got out of high school, and I joined the Army, and I was a reservist for a while. And I was in a PSYOP unit in San Francisco. And so part of my training, I was an illustrator in the Army. So part of my training was I went to illustrator school for a few months. And when I got back from that, I was 19. I had various crappy jobs, worked in as a sign painter and a fry cook, and I worked in a bank and all the standard things. And the whole time I was working on my pages and trying to get my samples done. And I had met at a comic book store. There was my local comic book store, Joe Field's Flying Colors, in Walnut Creek. He knew Jim Lee, and Jim Lee needed someone to help doing some backgrounds and stuff in his final issue of Punisher War Journal before he moved on to the X-Men.
Oh, okay.
And so I just helped him out for a little while doing drawing bathrooms and kitchens and motorcycles and boats and stuff. While we was finishing up those issues, and he helped me put together some samples. And while that was happening, I had met years before at a comic book convention, Fabian Nicieza. Before he became an editor and a writer, he was still working at Marvel doing marketing and promotion and stuff. And we became pals, and he would always send me scripts to work on, to practice stuff on. And when I would send them back to him, and he would give me some notes and some pointers. And then eventually, and I think I was 21, maybe I was 22. Fabian got a job doing, he became an editor, and one of his books was Wonder Man. And so we had been pals, and he had been helping me for a while, and he said my stuff was ready. So he gave me a sample of Wonder Man pages, and I did a couple tryout pages for Wonder Man, and I got the book. So I did a back issue of Stalkers. That's the back half of it before it got canceled. Yeah, fun book, but it got canceled. And then I went directly on to Wonder Man #1. So I super lucky, right? I was in the right place, the right time, knew the right people. And then I started on Wonder Man. And after that, I bounced around. I did all kinds. I did Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
super lucky. I got to do a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, you did. You worked on, I mean, and then at DC as well, you got to work on Green Lantern a lot too, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you wind up making that transition from Marvel getting called into DC?
That's a very good question. You know, back in the day, it was a lot easier because you'd just be at a show and then you'd be hanging out and then someone would be like, hey, what are you working on? And then you'd be like, oh, I'm doing this, but I have a space coming up or I'm going to be done with that. And then if you're talking to the editor of DC or the writer of DC, Ron Mars at the time, or of Green Lantern, he goes, well, we'll come do an issue. And like, yeah, that was it. It's back in the day, it was not as complicated as it seems to be now.
No, now everything has to get run up a flagpole.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot more just personal interaction, I think, back in the day. And Andy will tell you all the business I ever did was in a bar after a show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Did you, I can't remember. Were you ever under an exclusive contract at either company?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
Neither was I. Yeah.
Yeah. The only exclusive contract I ever had was at CrossGen.
Yeah. Well, I take it back. I guess Valiant for that. When they did the whole Rebirth thing and Bart and I were doing EXO, everybody that was part of that was exclusive. But I mean, that lasted for like a year and a half.
Joe said, Jeff, I loved your Wonder Man, but I loved your Way of the Rat. Those were next level.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, that was a fun book. That was kind of like, I don't know if it's hard to tell what the height of your career is, but that was one of my all-time favorite books. I had a great team. The book was so much fun. I got to do a kung fu book. No one ever does that. That just never happens anymore. Yeah.
Jeff, you're supposed to say the height of your career is Rogue's Kingdom. It's what you're doing now. That's the correct answer.
The Rogue's Kingdom is the beginning of my new career.
There you go. There you go.
And by the way, Rogue's Kingdom is a lot of fun. I think this is my work. My work on Rogues, I think, is so much different than the work I did for the rest of my career because I spent that 10, 15 years doing animation. So my approach to storytelling and character design and everything is so much different now.
Sure.
It just feels like a new iteration of my work.
Right. Well, dude, your character designs are just awesome. I love looking at the character designs and stuff. I love your sketches and sketchbooks and stuff that you do. When you're inking Rogue's Kingdom, are you still using ballpoint pen?
So the first issue, I was gonna do ballpoint pen, and it just didn't hold color well, and so I learned.
Wait, you mean after you scanned it and stuff?
Yeah, it always looked a little too scratchy, and it wasn't what I was going for.
Right.
So I wound up learning how to just functionally ink. So now I ink with your standard brush and pen. So all of issue 1 is inked by me. And a large part of issue 2 is also inked by me. And then my friend Chris Schenk took over that role, and he inked the rest of issue 2. So it's much better. The inking is much better on issue 2 than on issue 1. Because I would describe myself as functional as an inker, not inspired. Certainly not anywhere.
That's how Dennis's wife describes him in the bedroom. Functional.
Listen, but function is better than dysfunctional.
He's functional.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. That's better than what Helen said.
It's a pass-fail kind of thing.
Hey, Torchbearer Studios says, I got Draw Fight Scenes Like a Pro, great how-to book. Torchbearer, it is a great book. If you probably missed the beginning of the show, so when we're done, go back, start from the beginning. We touch on the whole thing and talk about it. So go back and watch it.
Yeah, and also if anybody watching is curious about how to draw fight scenes like a pro, if you go to the playlist on my channel under book looks and search it, you'll find it. 'Cause that was one of the early ones I did, and that's where I take a book and go through it page by page, post the link if it's available and all that, so you can check it out.
Yeah,
before you buy it. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, Andy, your stuff on the I was just looking at. You sent me the link to the book. The black and white stuff. It's the work is amazing, dude. You're really taking it to the next level.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what they say? You're only as good as your last job. And I'm just that's for God,
sure.
You know, I like to say being a middle of the road guy that never made the big bucks like some guys did in comics is a good thing, because it makes you keep trying compared to some of those guys that made the big bucks where you're like, maybe you shouldn't have, because you can tell you gave up a while ago and you're just resting on your laurels.
Well, that is one of the things I like about, so my new approach to storytelling has a much more animated, cinematic, cartoon, like TV movie vibe, even just the way I lay a panel out. And so I feel like after a long time, I've actually kind of gone back to my roots of the old Hal Foster, Al Williamson stuff, because their stuff was very inspired by movies and their compositions. Yeah. So it's kind of like a homecoming in a way, but now I know much better why I'm doing the things that I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Randy's asking, when is Rogues Kingdom launching? When is your new project actually going to be live?
So we had a few delays, so probably early in May is gonna the final the actual launch date will happen. We're just kind of get the last of our ducks in a row. So yeah, that's issue 1 and 2 will be available for the next Kickstarter for anyone who didn't get the first one.
Cool.
And it's the ongoing story. The first story arc is going to be 5 issues, and then James and I have I'm sure like you guys, we have 100 issues planned.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we have so much cool stuff coming. But like the first 5 issues is mostly the story about Peachy and Rondo and their getting to Lumpland, which is the kingdom, and then there's an assassination attempt on the king, and I don't want to give too many things away, but it gets cool. And eventually I'm going to just in the next trade paperback, there's dragons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Who's doing the coloring for you?
So the coloring on issue 2 was done by Brendan Wagner and Chris Schenk.
Oh, okay. And then who was number 1?
Brennan started the issue, and then Chris came in to help me finish it.
Okay.
And Chris is gonna Chris has been great. So Chris is an old friend of mine from the studio days, or the work in progress days. Amazing artist, amazing inker, amazing painter. So he's been very helpful in helping me get all the little pieces done.
Oh, cool. Here's a great question for you that how even I could answer, but it's for you. Jeff, did you study any martial arts? Because your fight scenes seems to translate some of it.
I've been doing, I don't train as much as I used to, but I still do Kempo and I still do a little jiu-jitsu. But back in the day, I used to do a lot of, I did Silum Fut Kung Fu, Shotokan Karate, a little Wing Chun, and a long time doing Aikido. So yeah, I bounced around the martial arts world.
I know Wang Chun.
Yeah.
I've Wang Chun.
Everyone can Wang Chun tonight.
Everybody's done Wang Chun
tonight.
Tonight, exactly.
I might Wang Chun tonight just because you brought it up.
Just to tell you how old I am, Andy, I saw them in concert with the Cars way back when.
Well, I know how old you're not that much. Guys, he's only a year older than Dennis and I, and you know how old the two of us are, so do the math.
Yeah, I didn't know how old you were, but I knew it was just in the same. And it's funny when you said that, I'm like, oh, I remember those concerts.
Yeah.
Well, he's a huge concert guy.
Yeah.
He's a huge He went and saw Iron Maiden last year. I'm like, you go have fun.
Oh,
my idea of a nice loud concert these days is cranking up the old speaker in my office and being able to take a piss when I want without any trouble.
I just realized how old we were. We were having a conversation. Yeah. And I saw Motley Crue when they came out in 80. It was 83. And then I was like, I just saw them when they were just here. I think it was last year at Bank of America. I was like, do you realize I saw them multiple times, but between the first and last, 40 years apart?
Wow.
Oh my God. That just scared me.
Still a good show?
What's that?
Still a good show?
Yeah, so this one was Joan Jett had opened. It was Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard. And it was great. It was an absolutely great show. Joan Jett is still the original group, and they call him Grandpa. He plays the keyboards. He's the original guy. He's 80 whatever years old. He was up there talking, and he goes, they told me not to do it, but they have been together. She looks the same. She stands the same. She plays, and she sounds no different. when I saw her in the early 80s.
That's amazing. Man, she's so hot.
And who are you going to go see here coming up?
Well, I've got
You're going to Myrtle Beach. Who is it?
Jeff Tate. He's I'm a Queensryche fan. I saw them when they got booed off stage by Metallica because the Metallica fans screwed me over. It was the Operation Mindcrime tour. So Jeff is hanging it up. He's playing the full Operation Mindcrime because he and Queensryche split up. And Jeff Tate's playing the full Operation Mindcrime from beginning till end. And then he's retiring from it altogether. So my wife and I got tickets in Myrtle Beach to go see the finale.
Damn, that'll be right.
Queensryche was one of the best concerts I ever saw. There you go, Rich. Living old days. Hey, so at CrossGen, are you still a master chess player? I can call you that because I was so bad at it that it seemed like you were a master chess player.
Yeah, I'm a highly average chess player. I play every once in a while. Derek Robertson and I play a bunch. We do shows together. It's fun. Derek kicks my ass on a regular basis. But yeah.
Oh, he's really good at chess?
Times. Yeah, Derek's very good at chess. Sitting in the quad playing chess, that was great. We used to get in trouble for that.
I know.
Gina did not appreciate us honing our intellectual skills.
I know. Then we'd go out back and toss the football around some. So that was fun.
That was the good parts of CrossGen.
Yeah. The lights not being on were some of the bad parts.
That was not great.
I hated that.
I do miss the ghost.
Oh yeah, the ghost of Cross. Well, I was never there overnight, so I never worried. Never had to worry about it. So
I was there late many times.
You
always feel the presence back there.
That's right. Oh no, that was just Mark breathing down your neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still have your whole first issue of Way of the Rat?
I do. Well, I mean, no, I got some. Chuck has some of it, and Tom has some of it.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, do you keep in touch? You know what's up with Tom by any chance at all, or no?
I lost touch with Tom a long time ago, and I've never been able to track him down.
Yeah, dude, that guy has honestly, no presence. Last time I talked to Tom was when I walked out the door of CrossGen when I quit. That was probably.
I've tried to find him on social media, and I've just not been able to find him.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, he's one of those guys.
Last I heard, he was in New York doing storyboards for a gaming company, but that just might have been a rumor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, Tom was that little guy. He was that little powder keg.
Yeah. Yeah. If I heard that Tom, got involved in some sort of Albanian war just because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
how's Chuck doing? I heard, is the new movie Working Man, is that based on one of Chuck's books?
The what movie?
Working Man with Statham?
Yeah, that's based on his first Levon Cade book, dude. It's great. I've read.
Yeah.
So he's written 12 of them.
I know.
And I have the first 4. I didn't realize the first one came out because, we went and saw it and then I dug it out. I didn't realize the thing came out in 2012, I think, 2013.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, Working Man was great. It
was fun.
It's a fun, turn your mind off, Jason Statham action flick. It's got some of Chuck's dialogue in it.
So is it true to the book? Is it a good representation?
Yeah, we had Chuck on to talk to him about, just interview him like this and talk to him about that some. And Chuck was basically like, hey, as long as they sign on the dotted line and everything, they do whatever they want with it. But yeah, they stuck to it pretty well from what I could tell. I mean, I haven't read the book in years, but Chuck was happy with it.
Awesome.
Originally, I believe it was supposed to be, if I remember right, because Stallone approached him about it as a TV show.
Nice.
And because Chuck did there was an Expendables graphic novel and Chuck wrote it.
Oh, right.
And I guess Stallone liked what he did. And then I think you'd have to ask Chuck for sure, but I'm pretty sure Chuck said that Stallone wanted to have him do some rewrites or something, maybe on one of the movies. Expendable movies. And anyhow, so it was going to be a TV show, and then COVID happened, because I'm pretty sure this is how far it goes back. And then Stallone basically called him up and was like, and I do remember this, and was like, hey Chuck, it's Sly, and I'm thinking, what do you think about a movie instead? And Chuck's just like, yeah, man, cool, whatever you say. That's good. Let's go movie. He
said, it's Sylvester Stallone. You're going to say, yeah, whatever you want.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then it came about that Statham, he told Chuck that Jason Statham was looking for like a new franchise to really build on, because he didn't have one in a while. And they were hoping this could be it. And then so a movie came out a year and a half ago called The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Yep.
Okay. And it was fun. It was really cool.
Another good one.
Jason Statham, tough guy, but The Beekeeper was more of a spy type thing, where it's this retired spy that was part of this thing called the Beekeepers and whatever. Right. And it did really well. Well, they actually put Working Man ahead of filming the sequel to Beekeeper, because it has a lot, I think, the same director and stuff.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And they were so excited about Levon Cade, Working Man, that they bumped that ahead of Beekeeper too.
Well, I hope they do more. I mean, I hope they do that series. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
we do too. Yeah, we took a picture. We were watching it in the theater, and we're like, oh, watching Working Man.
Yep, there's Chuck's name on the screen.
Yep.
Oh, excellent.
Hey, have you gotten the privilege of? Because I always stay after all the Marvel movies to see the special thanks, and I honestly can't remember, because like 30 some movies now. Has your name ever been in the special thanks for anything that you know of?
I don't think so. I don't think that stuff is showing up in, but I still don't know if I'll be mentioned or not. Is the Wonder Man show supposed to happen in December still?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. You've got, dude. Come on. You didn't create the character, but for God's sakes, he came to light really with that series in the 90s that you started. Yeah. So I would imagine in special thanks, besides the creators way back in the 70s, it'll have to say, Fabian and Jeff Johnson somewhere.
I would hope so, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what era. I assume, because everything I've read seems like they're doing my era of Wonder Man. Where he's in LA being a stuntman and doing the acting and stuff. But also I've seen a couple clips of it, and that doesn't seem like that it seems like they're doing a different kind of LA thing. So I don't know if they're going to be using any of the stuff that we did in the series, but I don't know. There's certainly not going to be a check. So
no. Don't even think about that. I mean, if you're lucky, they might send you, if they do a premiere, because it's a TV show, and I don't know if they do that for TV shows or not, but if you're lucky, maybe you'll get an email going, you and a friend, you and a +1 can come to the premiere. You have to pay your own way and get your own hotel room, but come on down. Jeff Johnson, come on down.
It would be a lot of fun, and I think that I hope Joe was good, because I love that character, and I think he's a really cool. I think he's an untouched gold mine for Marvel.
Sure,
but who knows? You can never. I gave up. They used my art a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rich says the Reaper's the villain in the show. Did you make him?
Oh no, I didn't make him. We used him in our book, and we updated him enough. But no. I think the only character I created was his cast of characters, his background characters, the crazy.
Dude, all it takes. Well, didn't he have a girlfriend in your book, some blonde chick?
Did. Yeah.
What's her name? Do you remember?
No.
I didn't think you would, but I figured I'd ask. And by the way, don't ask me any questions about Quasar, because I won't remember either.
Exactly.
Wendell Vaughn.
Dude, Wendell Vaughn.
That's all
Dude, all it takes, Jeff, is for Wonder Man to go, this is my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Boom, there it is, Fabian and Jeff Johnson. That's all it takes.
That would be fantastic. That would be really great. We did create a character called Splice, who works for the movie studio as an assassin.
I remember that character.
So if he's in it, then that would be really cool. But no, Grim Reaper and Wonder Man, those guys have been around forever, honestly. I mean,
didn't Splice?
He had blades, right?
Yeah, okay.
You know what's funny about Splice though is they don't cut film like that anymore, because that used to be, that's how you cut old school films. You would splice it, you'd cut it and splice it together. Yeah. They don't do that anymore. They haven't done that in 20 years.
No, it's all digital.
Right. Yeah. So even the idea of the villain is old. So I don't know.
Do you just think back sometimes and go, because you broke in before me, so if I'm right, is this your 35th year in the business, technically?
So I got in, I think, like 91 or 92.
No, I got it in 91, and I know you start. If you do you count the Jim Lee stuff or no?
Oh, I hadn't. I really kind of only count the first issue of Wonder Man. But yeah, if we count the Jim Lee stuff, I was probably 90.
I think,
or even maybe late 89.
I think Wonder Man wasn't 90. It was 91. Somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 91.
Oh, well, we're the same then. 34 years. But still, dude, 34 years.
It's a long time, right? And yeah, what's funny is, like, I feel like I'm starting again with Rogue's Kingdom and doing stuff now, because I took all that time off to do animation, which was fun and I loved it.
Sure.
But I do feel like I've lost like I'm relearning what it's like to do comics again with this book.
So this brings up a good a couple questions I want to ask. When you were doing Wonder Man, was Fabian doing full script or plot? And if he was doing full script, have you ever worked plot style? Old school.
So Fabian was just the editor. It was a different writer. So Fabian was the editor on Wonder Man. Yeah,
that's right. It's Gerard Jones, right?
Yeah, and the scripts then they were most scripts, but even back then the style of full script was a lot looser at Marvel than it was at DC. There's a lot more 91. Thanks, Rich.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot looser, and there's a lot more left up to the penciler back in the day. Like I did some Supergirl, a Superboy, and some Legion of superheroes 15 years ago, a while ago, maybe less. Yeah. But anyway, and those full scripts were like tight full scripts, and so I still messed around and play with them, but they really kind of expect you to stick closer to the script now, because once it's approved, like I worked on a Bizarro issue, a Superman issue that started Bizarro, like one of the villains issue.
Dude, I inked it over you. I know.
Yeah, right. It was good. Remember, it was a good issue. But I remember having a conversation with the editor, because I wanted to move some stuff around, because I thought it would make the story more impactful and punch it up. But the editor let me know, is like, no, even though he loved the ideas, but it had already been approved by the committee, and it had already, and like changing anything at all would have been going back to the process. So back in the 90s, if you wanted to do something different, like the Sideways issue I did in the 90s was just me asking Fabian if I could do a Sideways issue. He said, sure. That was it. That was the end of the conversation.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So times were a lot easier.
No, I hear you. There you go, Randy. Thank you for following it. Stippling Vaughn says 11/6/1990. I'm assuming that is when he found Wonder Man 1. So maybe it was. If it was 1990, dude, 35 years. Wow.
35 years, yeah.
I mean, 34 is still a long haul too. So.
Oh my God, so long.
So how does James write Rogue's Kingdom?
So what? Oh, James. So Rogue's Kingdom is it's a pretty tight script. Like, he does all the dialogue, and I try and stay as close to his script as possible. I will also add, move stuff around, change stuff. Working with James is a breeze. He's super talented and super great writer, and he's also very, very flexible. If I have an idea and I want to try something, he's totally open to moving stuff around and changing things. Yeah, James is great. And it's some of the best dialogue. I mean, I've been very lucky to be on really good first issues. Like Way of the Rat first issue, I thought was a great first issue. It did all the right things. And then I think James also wrote an incredible first issue for Rogue's Kingdom. Like, he introduces all the characters. There's enough action. You guys know it's hard to get a concise, good first issue. I got
it. It was a fun book, you know?
No, thank you.
I think, honestly, and I know, fans have said this to us, if the big downfall, or not downfall, but the big drawback, whatever you want to call it, with crowdfunding is, you know, it's more of a, I say it's more of a European model from the standpoint of we're basically doing one book a year, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And we try to make that one book self-contained, but there's still the subplots that will go through to the next one, you know?
Right.
But, you know, the downfall is, because I'm still a big comic nerd, he is too, you know, when you get something that you from crowdfunding, like say Rogue's Kingdom, you read it and you really want the next one in 30, 60 days.
Right.
You know?
And it's
just
taken me more than a year.
Right. And you're kind of training, you know, the fans that are along for the ride are kind of getting used to it though. So they're like, okay, I know the next one, it's going to be a while, but it will be worth the wait.
Yep.
You know?
I'll tell. So the first thing is, like, the first issue took forever. It's, you know, as you know, your first one's complicated and you're trying to figure stuff out. And then I made every mistake you can possibly make in the fulfillment side of things, right? Getting things made, printed, and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, James and I learned a lot of lessons on the first one. So our goal is to get the second one will be out in May. And then our goal is to try and get the rest of the issues. Now that I have a team in place helping me ink and do all the other stuff. We've got the format squared away with the letter and the designer. So the goal will be my goal is to half the time for every issue, to do it twice as fast, right? To just get it down to eventually being able to put the book out every 2 or 3 months. That's the dream. Yeah.
Nice. So Prater's asking, have you guys described what Rogue's Kingdom's all about? We haven't, believe it or not. We talked a lot, so we need an elevator pitch here.
Yeah, give it.
All right. So
I keep forgetting. I know what it's about, but these guys don't. So yeah, tell everybody, what is Rogue's Kingdom? What's it about? I'll share the screen again.
All right.
Tell them what it is. Sell it, baby.
Rogue's Kingdom is a fantasy adventure swords and sorcery story that it basically stars it stars these two characters. One is a street urchin, like pickpocket thief. His name is Peachy, and the main character, his name is Rondo, and he's a traveling bard, but he's also a traveling soldier and swashbuckler. He's a rogue, basically, and they both wind up in this prison caravan on their way to the main city of the kingdom to be hung for larceny and lewd behavior, and basically they get in trouble with the law. On the way, and so that's where they meet. That's where we meet our first two characters. And then on the way to the gallows, the caravan, in the front of the caravan is the replacement wizard for Lumpland. Their old wizard died, and so this kid is on his way to be the new wizard, and every kingdom has a wizard. They're sort of like nuclear deterrents. They are the magical military, basically. And the old wizard is done, and the new kid is on the way, but then on the way to take over, the caravan gets ambushed, and that guy gets killed, the wizard gets killed, and his guardian gets killed. And Peachy and Rondo are able to survive because they're way in the back and they're crafty and they're able to escape and they're able to survive the assassination. So everyone else in the caravan gets killed except for them. And then Peachy has the great idea of taking on the identities of the young wizard and having Rondo take on the identity of the guardian, so they can sneak into the city and steal a bunch of gold and get out with some cash. Otherwise they're going to get hung. So and then through that beginning, they wind up actually being a really good guardian and wizard. So they're able to save, they're able to figure out who the assassination is meant for. They're able to save the person who's the assassination is intended for, and then wind up really kind of, they're reluctant heroes who wind up being the heroes that the city needed. They weren't the heroes the city was supposed to get, but they're the heroes the city winds up getting, and they're the right ones for the job. So it's a Prince and the Pauper kind of My Fair Lady, thing. And it's and then when you get to the city, you meet a lot of really interesting characters. Like one of my favorite characters from the first issue is the princess. She is very pretty, and she's supposed to take over the kingdom and be a good ruler. But she also she's our Zorro character. She's our Batman character. She's also a super badass who dresses up and fights crime in the city at night. So it's fun. We wanted to do a swords and sorcery fantasy thing, and then and so we came up with all the magic and the plot and all that stuff. And then I had the idea of, you always set this stuff in like the Middle Ages in England, right? It's always cold and castle-y. And I didn't want to draw that because everybody does that. And so I decided to set it like in France and sort of like, so it's Three Musketeers mixed with Lord of the Rings is basically what it is.
Oh, there you go. That's a great
yeah. Right. But the mistake I made, Andy, is like I decided to set it in like 1700s France with Three Musketeers. Way harder to draw than
Castle. Oh, that's way. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Dumb. Yeah. It was so dumb.
why don't you just draw modern day New York City while you're at it? I mean, that's why Kordrath is basically Conan in Game of Thrones,
right?
Because I can draw huts, the different villages. Some Kordrath is from a nomadic tribe. They basically have tents.
Yeah.
Adriana's tribe have stone wooden structures.
Smart.
None of this. Yeah. Hey, I pulled up because I totally forgot. I have the PDF of Rogue's Kingdom. Do you care if I show a few pages from the first issue?
Please do. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, damn it. I know where the actual comic is, but I'd have to get up. And then I was like, wait a second. I've got the PDF. So yeah, let me do that.
Yeah, everyone who signs up, the first 100 people who when they get the notice, if they get the book, they're going to get a special gift. I made this really cool bookmark that I'm going to be giving out to my first 100 new people, and I really want I want this book to go for a long time. We have a lot of cool stories to do.
Now, Jeff, I know how fast you draw, and I heard 100 issues, and I did some math with your age.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be 145 for another 100 years.
I'm concerned that you might not get to 50. Just saying.
Listen,
that still is a pretty long life on your end.
If we can make enough for me to afford some sort of rejuvenation tank, that I can make the 100 issues. If I can get the vitamins and apparently if I can get a red light, something or other, I can do it. I have enough B12 to make me last.
That's true.
Yeah.
But by the way, this 2-page spread right in the beginning, you said you were, kind of going more cinematic. Right. I mean, that first panel, you can't get more cinematic than that. Yeah. With the, the scope of it, you just picture on the big screen that traveling, caravan. It doesn't matter if it's one of those shots, whether it's a bunch of trucks on the highway or motorcycle gang or whatever. It's just a great classic, here we go, establishing type shot where you pan in the next few panels and stuff. Just great.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really tried to make it an immersive experience. I mean, the story that James has written is so detailed and the characters have such depth that I wanted to create a world that you could sink into and that everything fit. And so that city, Dennis, you'll be happy to know I have maps of the city. I know where the merchants are, and I know where the ports are. And yep. I know I can tell you how far away she is in this scene before she gets back to the palace, and even how she gets there. Yeah, I have.
Dude, when I saw that, I remember seeing it. I think you might have shared that, maybe work in progress or in black and white.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've shown that one. Yeah, I did it. The black and white one is huge.
Yeah. Well, okay. Actually, another good question. Are you working just traditionally 11 by 17? So this 2-page spread is the 17 by 22 or whatever.
Yeah. So I am doing, and I'm still doing I do all my layouts and I do a lot of the work in the computer. But then when it comes to the actual drawing of stuff, I still like working on paper. I know it's more time consuming. And Ron Garney has been mad at me, not mad at me, but he's he thinks I should stop doing that because it takes me forever.
Wait, you mean the computer part of it, or?
Well, because Ron does digital work now. And so I know. Yeah. Funny, but his digital stuff, and he's like, Jeff, you're because it does. It takes me much longer to do a page because I have all these different iterations of it.
Oh, see, I think so. The first mans I did for when I started crowdfunding, I drew them digital, pencils, but then I printed them out full size in blue so I could ink traditionally. Right. One, because I love inking with a brush and pen, and two, I love original art. Even though I don't sell it, I love having original art. So that's how I did that. But with Kordrath, I said, screw it. I'm going back to old school where basically I took the script, did my little thumbnail on the script, took out the Bristol board, just went to town.
Really? How was that?
I love it. That's how I've been doing it ever since. I just pull out the piece of blank Bristol, my thumbnail's right next to me, and I just start drawing. So
here is one of the. I sent you a JPEG of it, but here is.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the variant covers for issue 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
This is all ballpoint pen. It's going to be inked and colored, but I still.
Wait, that's not finished?
It's ballpoint pen.
But you said you're still going to ink it? I mean, that's not ready to go to the colorist?
No, it still has to be inked.
What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about, man? That thing's done. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
scan it, adjust the levels, and get it to the colorist.
Nah, I gotta make my lines pretty, Andy. You know me.
Just remember, one book every 2 months.
I know. Well, that's why I have an inker.
Yeah.
Listen, this is why I have an inker now, because I can't be trusted. I'm too OCD when it comes to that stuff.
I don't want to show every page in the book, so I'm clicking real fast to get through stuff to just stop on some pages. Hey, Katie. Yeah, I think, everybody's, I mean, Dave Williams, when he saw Kordrath, he's like, oh my God, this is the best stuff for your career. Right. I mean, like I said, I think we always try to do our best and get better with every project. And I mean, I'm just loving this stuff. I think your art, the color that's on it works perfect for your style. It's like we're saying, Marvel and DC these days, forget it. It's all by committee. You can't do shit. Don't change this. Don't do whatever. It's just so freeing doing this.
It is. And I really do, as much as I love drawing Spider-Man and the Hulk and Green Lantern and all the classic characters, that was a really great time. I really had I just really had fun designing these characters and creating this world and making it look like familiar. It has resonance with other fantasy stuff, but I wanted to make it unique and have its own flair and its own flavor. And I think that by designing it from the ground up, I was kind of able to do that.
Well, I think you just nailed it, because that was pretty much the same thought process I had when we started the whole Kordrath saga experience, creating it back in 2022. Mm-hmm. It was basically, so we were, to back up with how Kordrath came about, most of the people watching know, but I was finishing up First Man 2 in regards to I was waiting for it to come from the printer so I could do fulfillment. Right. And people were asking what's next. And Dennis and I were driving to a convention, and I said, after First Man Volume 2 gets all shipped out, I want to do something totally different. And I want it to be more fantasy-based, barbarian type thing, because I really enjoyed doing Claw, Red Sonja. Mm-hmm. And, I knew he had an affinity. What's that?
I remember the Claw stuff.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. And I knew he had an affinity for that type of stuff. So I asked him if he wanted to be a part of it and stuff. And obviously he did. And it's like you said, because you're building it from the ground up, it's so freeing, because there's nothing tying you down to anything.
Right.
And one of the examples with Kordrath I always use is, if you look at the characters, Kordrath, he's a barbarian. He's got the loincloth.
Right.
I didn't want to have him symmetrical, so he's got a shoulder pad on one side. He's got the punk type haircut, but there's a story point behind why his hair is cut that way. Mm-hmm. And then Adriana, the sorceress, his girlfriend in the book, if you will, if you just look at her by herself, she could look like something, a character that takes place modern day,
right.
And that's what I wanted. I I wanted that juxtaposition of the visuals, and partly too because they come from different tribes. So his tribe is this way, her tribe is this way, down to clothing and everything, you know.
I love that.
There's 11 different tribes that, you know, we're not going to get exposed to them all, but they're all different. They're all barbarian tribes. They all live in harsh environments, but they're all distinct and different. Some good, some not so good, some kind of in between.
Oh, there we go. That's a great one.
Yep.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things, so I am so, Andy, I love that you have 11 tribes and they're all different. I love that. That makes me feel like, it makes me feel justified in the fact that I have all these different schools of magic and they all do it. They all have like, their own little symbols. And there's even, I have wolf knights and there's foxes and they all have like, there's different cohorts and they all have different weapons and stuff.
Well, and dude, that's just it. And Kordrath is from the Red Lions. That's why he's a red line tattoo. And everybody in the tribe has that tattoo, but it can be somewhere else. It could be on the palm of their hand, their shoulder, whatever.
Right.
Adriana's from the Black Eagles tribe. So everybody in their tribe is signified by a Black Eagle tattoo.
Nice.
But see, we have all different types of magic. So this is and there's ancestral magic, which barbarians have because it's infused in their tattoos when they come of age.
Nice.
And then you also have infernal magic, and then you have old magic, and they all work differently. We have ley lines that are important because putting your hut or your induk into a certain position strengthens the ability to do it. So there's all of these magic concepts that are rolled into that we get to, you know, distill out piece by piece to everybody. There's so much involved with it. And when people read it, you know, you have to give them enough information so that they catch magic's not magic. There's all these different things. And I love worlds that have that kind of world building into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. That makes me very happy.
Admiral Wackass has a question. He says, so does the thief ever become a mage? I don't know what any of that means.
Elminster, Forgotten Realms. It's the most powerful mage in the realms.
So I don't know if that's a real question.
So magic is kind of kept under wraps in our world. And so there's these families who control it, and there's these wizards who control these different sects who and they think that they're the only ones. Most people think that they're the only ones that can use magic. But it turns out that anyone can use it if you figure out the secret and you're taught how. And Peachy is the first person who's not in those clans to figure it out. So he has to keep secret that he doesn't know magic, and he also has to keep secret that he's learning magic, because otherwise they'd kill him.
Okay. Sheldon Martin says, how many pages are the issues?
Each issue, the story in each issue is, the comic book story is 20 pages with a preview page of upcoming stuff in other books that I'm drawing. And then we have lots of back material. We have character stuff. We have short story James has written with illustrations, and we have a letters page. So there can be as much as 46 pages of story, because the text stories are all part of the ongoing story.
Cool. And of course, if you go back, because I assume, like you said, part of the next campaign, they'll be able to get the first book. So you'll be treated to these wonderful character designs, which, you know, you're probably like me as an artist. This is my favorite stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, this 100% is, I mean, I love all of it, but this is my favorite part. Like when I was, one of my jobs in animation for a long time was character designer. And so now I can't start a project without having figured out all the characters and doing turns. And it's all the preamble, right? Like that, by the way, that guy right there, he's one of my favorite character designs.
Dude, he's great.
He's the cart driver. He dies. The first issue.
Oh, come on now. It's a good thing I've read it already, but yes, it's spoiled.
But my friends were like, so you did a whole character sheet for a guy who's only in a total of like 6 panels. And I went, yeah, I did. And I have a tremendous amount of backstory for him too.
You know, the funny thing is, Jeff, I got some people laughed at me when we launched Core Draft because we started talking about how I came up with them. I do 100 questions. So there's a standard 100 questions that I have for every character, you know, and it's not just their personality, the little things that they do. It's family history, what ties in with this. But there's that 100 questions that fleshes out the entire character. And even if they're only in it for half a book and they wind up dying, I still have the 100 questions that are in there because it's relevant, because that is the person in the character, no matter what it is. I love to hear you say that because I am the exact same way.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't. I have my Bible for this book. When it finally goes to, is it turned into a TV show or a movie or whatever, I'm just going to hand over 1,000 pages of material. It's got everything from like how the horses, you know, are saddled and the various carts and where this, you know, the maps of the city and different weapons that everybody uses. So the magic works. Yeah.
So talking about the cart driver that gets killed, Sheldon goes, "Dang, that's a fun design. Does his twin brother at least come in the story?"
There will be some, yeah, he's going to have some family members pop up eventually.
I love this one too, man. I'm just like, that is freaking cool.
Yeah. That is from the clan of the Wandering Fire. That's the magic, you know, that's awesome. The Guardian. And then the next one is the little wizard kid.
That's freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
No, it's really, oh, that's so nice too.
Yeah. That guy, then it's like, so he fights the princess in the very first issue and gets beat. And so for him, I have him coming back, like he gets pissed about that. So then he tries to upgrade. So he upgrades with some magic, and then he gets beat. He'll get beat again, and he keeps getting beat. So he keeps going back and upgrading, becoming a tougher and tougher villain. So we'll see that guy. Cool. Yeah, we'll see that guy throughout the series.
Love this.
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome. That's cool.
You know, I'm starting to hear down the road a Rogue's Kingdom Core Draft crossover.
I know, it's funny. Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking the same thing. I'm like,
boy, we make a module out of that.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that'd be super cool. That'd be rad. Yeah, I mean, I love world building. I love creating a place that you can hang out in for a while. As much as, I mean, I love Marvel and DC, and I loved my time doing those books. And I would, you know, there's still stuff I wouldn't mind doing, but getting to make my own, you know, my own universe this way. And that's one thing I loved about Way of the Rat is like I got to do all of that stuff, and I really felt that it stood, you know, the characters stood on their own as a community. Yeah, the Fox guys are cool. They're much more in the second issue and the rest of the series.
No, that's cool. Like I don't mind going through this stuff because it doesn't really. I didn't want to go through every page of the book for obvious reasons, because then somebody could be like, I'm just going to watch the video really slow. Right. I don't need to buy the book. But this stuff is just awesome. So.
Right. I sent you our first putting together the lettering and stuff for the second issue. So I sent you the first placement so you can take a look at what happens next.
Okay. Oh, well, here's a preview too. Yeah, I definitely will do that. I got it. We were kind of I had to restart my computer right before the stream. We came on, and before we do anything, I go to settings and we check audio and sound to make sure we can hear and whatever.
Nothing worked.
Right. And it's like 3 minutes before, and I'm like, I got to restart my computer. You have got to be kidding me. So
I hate that.
That's
one of the tough things. I miss. One of the things I miss most about animation, I love going to a studio. That was my favorite thing about CrossGen. Is like I loved going to the studio and being able to work with other artists. That was the best. That's better for me than working alone. But one of the things I loved about working in animation is you get updated equipment for every show, and then you have a tech guy. If you ever have a problem, you just walk away. You walk away from your desk, and someone else fixes it. That was the best.
You press that little red button, and they're like, "Oh God, tech problems again." Yep. It's always Jeff. Why is he spilling drinks all over his computer? We tell him not to.
Well, I'm slob.
I know. I remember. No, you're anything but.
I was going to say a couple of technical points, guys. We got a couple of hundred of you on right now. Some of you are, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Rumble, the links to Jeff's stuff is in there. So if you're watching this later on, you just have to go down there and look in the description. His link to Rogue Kingdom is right there. If you guys are on X and you're watching it now, our awesome mods put the links to it is in the replies right in X. So guys, make sure you check it. Make sure you go put your email address and sign up for it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I want it's just getting the word out because I'm not on social media a ton, especially depending on what I'm doing or what the workload is like. But trying to get on there and trying to get the word out, it's super. I appreciate being on the show, man. It's hard. It's hard to stay focused on it.
Dude, it's a job. Yeah. And honestly, when you launch a campaign, those first like 30 days, it's like I didn't get much drawing done because it's all about pushing the stuff out, trying to get on different channels and such. Hey, I want to get your opinion. Who looked better in their high school senior photo? Okay. This schlub.
Hey, he's
I don't know. He's higher.
Or good thing. Well, Katie's probably still watching. Katie, if you're watching, I'm sorry you're about to swoon. This guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a serious question.
I mean, I don't know. I like Dennis's single Windsor. I appreciate that's a good knot. Good tie knot.
Thank you. Thank you. You even knew it. I love it.
It's a clip-on.
It is not a clip-on.
That's a single Windsor. I like
my double Windsor's not good.
No, double Windsor's not. It makes your neck look fat. That nobody wants that. So, right. But Andy's got a bow tie. I mean, are you wearing a tux, Andy, to school?
Honestly, you know what they did? The photographers did. We had to show up in basically a collared shirt. They threw they had a bunch of different size jackets. They put the jacket on, clipped on the tie, took the picture, took the tie off, took the jacket off, said, next.
Wow. Speaking of clip-ons, and we also got the response. Oh, thanks, Katie. Oh, Dennis.
Oh, Katie, you don't have to suck up to Dennis. Hey, you're buddies with Aaron Lopresti. Would you like to see his high school photo?
I would love to see Aaron Lopresti's high school photo. Why do you have these? Oh my God, that's not hair. That is Aaron.
That was 70s hair.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. You can see the intensity in the eyes.
Yeah. It doesn't look any different now.
No, yeah.
Would
Aaron
you
can definitely see your soul?
We did a show, we did a professional show on a Tuesday night where we were talking about high school days. Are you friends with Graham Nolan?
I've met Graham, but I don't know him.
Well, there's his high school photo.
It's adorable.
Isn't it? He's so cute. What about Art Taber? You know Art, right?
Oh, I love Art.
Okay. Tell me if you think that's Art Taber, because it is.
What?
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Feels like he should be with Bob Seger's band.
And now I know you know. Well, you know, Art was in a band in the 80s, and actually, it was a metal band.
Yeah,
he played. Oh God, what was the name of the? Oh, the name of the band was Nocturnal Infernal, I think, or Inferno. Nocturnal Inferno, I think. And he played. He found one of the songs on SoundCloud and played part of it last night.
Did he play bass? Did I nail it?
No, he played drums. He's a drummer.
Oh, okay. Close. I was close.
And you know, I know you know Dan Fraga.
Oh yeah.
Look, nice jacket.
I got to hang out with Dan a little bit in LA before I moved away from there. After he worked on the Ricky Gervais cartoon. Cartoon.
He's he's in Georgia now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Hey, one last story before we close out the show. And it reminded me when you said you would do character design and animation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and as soon as I name the show, you'll probably know where I'm going. I believe you worked on now I'm blanking on it. Was it the Boondocks?
Yeah.
And didn't you design a certain appendage on a character?
Oh God, yeah. So you know what's funny? You know what's funny about about the Boondocks is I actually drew a bunch of penises on that show. There was so I had to do there's a scene where Lionel Richie is naked, and so I had to do the drawing of Lionel Richie. And so I had to draw him naked. And then I got my note. I don't know if I ever told you this part, Andy. The note I got back on the naked version of Lionel Richie was I was supposed to make the penis more anime.
Anime? What's that even mean?
I mean, it was a tough note because I did not know what it meant and I didn't know how to do it. And so I had to do a bunch of different versions until I was able to chance upon what anime went. But that wasn't the worst one. There's a scene where Granddad falls down the stairs. And so
this is the story you told me, I believe.
Right. So Granddad falls down the stairs and he's wearing a towel, but it comes into cam. And even though for TV they blurred that out, they drew it for the actual DVD. So it was unblurred out, full all into cam. And as a character designer, you do your standing shots of the characters, and those go overseas for reference. But whenever they don't know quite how to draw something and they want reference for it, you have to do a special shot. And so I had to do a special character design of Granddad's balls and everything coming into cam. Because like with speed lines and flopping and the whole thing, like it was a major story point.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
When they say draw
my
anime,
search engine,
I don't even know what that would mean. I mean, it's not like they say anime eyes or the hairstyle because they're very distinctive things. But yeah, I don't know if I could. Yeah, don't know idea.
I know because when I have the drawing somewhere, Andy, I'll see if I can't find my Lionel Richie drawing and send it to you.
There you go.
Yeah,
that. There you go. Yeah, Marcus said it. Testicles in perspective.
Luckily it's there's one of the first things you learn how to draw in animation is a bouncing ball. So it's not surprising that it would go there. Yeah.
I guess if I had to do that for reference, I would just squat over a mirror.
Well, but here's the thing, Andy, I'm all about detail and integrity. And I want to make sure that I got the gender and race and everything just right. Plus his granddad balls. It was old.
Well, I'm trying to remember.
Well, that's why he said he could do it over a mirror.
Fair enough.
Were you married at this point of your career? I can't remember.
No, Megan and I we weren't married yet, but she did help me do a Google search. She had to help me.
Are you kidding me?
It was on our.
She took you to the all male review, and you were
right.
She was your cover, so you could be like, "Look, I told her I'd go. I don't want to be here." And then they'd be like, "Excuse me, miss, why's your husband on stage looking up this guy's junk?" It's reference. He's got a sketch pad.
Yeah, I'm a professional. I'll go where it takes me.
That's right. Yeah. So will Dennis.
Yep.
Yeah,
sure do.
He's good. He's
or where I lead, or where it leads me, or vice versa.
He's doing weird image searches right now for penis anime, and I'm like, it's not my computer thing.
I'll dig it up for you guys. I have it in a box somewhere.
That is funny.
That was a fun show. That was I started doing backgrounds on Justice League Unlimited. I took over for Dave Johnston. And then I didn't even change the name on the door, which was great. So I took over doing that, and I jumped over to Boondocks, and I did characters, and I did a lot of characters that season. There's a lot of characters in that show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to wrap it up. Hang out, because after we end the show, we'll talk when we're not live anymore. But before we go,
Graybeard should be up and running, right?
Graybeard starts on Aaron Lepresti's channel. Aaron, Dan Lawless, David Williams, Gary Martin. Go check that out. Of course, everybody go sign up for Lilith. There's as Dennis likes to say, homage cover.
The homage cover.
The homage cover.
That's badass.
Thank you. What's the cover referencing? Do you recognize what the homage is?
Is it a Corbin piece?
It's Frank Frazetta, Vampirella #1.
Oh, that
The
okay.
original Harris cover.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's that. Here's the main cover for the book, guys. So that
Nice.
one is out. I did not do the colors on this.
Oh, Marcus says no gray beards today.
Oh, Dennis, or that's right. Aaron's out of town. No gray beards. So there's the main cover A for the book, and then some new character designs as well. So
Cool.
thank you. So go sign up for Lilith Infernal Conflict. The link is in the description below. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So go do that. Guys, tomorrow night, Dennis and I are going to go see The Accountant 2.
Or Squared,
I'm jealous.
as the title shows it.
Every week, Dennis and I go see a movie on Thursday night. We drop a movie review on Friday morning. This week, it's The Accountant 2. We are looking forward to it. The first one was great.
We will probably drop a review as well. We finished Daredevil Reborn, so we will give you
Born
our
Again.
thoughts. Born Again, Reborn.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You're such a fucking senile bastard, you know?
I
Take
know,
your
and I
meds.
still remember.
Looks like he has the
you
beard of
back-
a much younger man.
What's that?
He said he has the beard of a much younger man, not like us.
He does. He does. We'll tell you how Daredevil was when we do the review.
Whoa, yeah, you don't get a sneak peek at that.
Yeah, Randy, come on now. Just because you post links and stuff, come on. So there you go. And there you go, guys. We'll be back next Wednesday. Maybe have another guest. We haven't figured it out yet. We fly by the seat of our pants. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
So good to catch up with you guys, man. It's been a long time.
I know. So like I said, I'm going to end the stream, hang out. We'll talk for a few after. And there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Everybody be safe. We'll catch you guys later. Like, subscribe, and share. Go sign up for Rogue's Kingdom.
It's right there below.
That's right. Go sign up so you know when it goes live soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good luck.
Thanks, everybody.